and welcome everybody. It's April 2025, and of course we have another Siebel release to talk about, Siebel 25.4. That's where we start as usual, the recap of what's new in the latest Siebel release. So there's a lot going on recently. At least that's the feeling I have when I look at the previous releases, the first four releases of this year. Was a lot of things that were going on, let's call it that. And one of the things that is going on is that I mentioned in the previous calls as well, is that the Siebel Hub training, or most of the Siebel Hub training, is now available as a subscription on Oracle University. So Richard and I were super happy that this worked out, and the training is available to even more people who have a learning subscription or learning credits. So if you're a partner of Oracle or a customer with Oracle using those learning credits, you can now take advantage of the only always up-to-date training for Siebel CRM that is available. So if you have any questions about that, put a question in the chat. I'll have some links for you later as well. And yeah, 25.4. So I think Nick will raise eyebrows again. So the CTMS I think is the leader with 10 updates since there are continuous releases in Siebel over the last 5 years. CTMS got 10 major updates through the repository upgrade, and this time some other features are added to CTMS: clinical trials, dashboards, and milestones. There is also news for customers using email response. There is I think it's a mandatory switch to OAuth 2.0 if you use Microsoft and SMTP. So Microsoft Exchange, or what was formerly Exchange. Field service also gets new integration with Fusion Knowledge Management, and some good or bad news for customers on Solaris and HP UX, that 25.4 is the terminal release. So it's the final release for those operating systems. And Tomcat is on 9.0.99. That's a new Tomcat for this release. So yeah, if anyone is interested in clinical trial management systems, it's one of the more interesting, I have to say, after working with a few customers. Then it's one of the more interesting industry applications because it's so bundled into an Oracle product, clinical, and it's a proper Siebel application, of course, with all the screens and views. And now in 25.4, you get some new views that are actual dashboards. So using those special applet types or chart applets, you can see on the screenshot, right? There's a protocol level dashboard, there's a site level dashboard. And when I opened it on my sample database, they just came to life. That's the screenshots that I took. So looks pretty nice, I have to say, with the Redwood design. That is if you use Redwood. But they also work in other themes. And there is also a milestone feature, which allows you to create a milestone library, activity templates for milestones, and even email alerts are sent out when milestones are missed or reached, probably. Yeah, so that's clinical trials. And anyone in the room integrating with Microsoft Exchange Online? That is no, nobody. Oh, Christian says yes. Okay. So there was 2 years ago or 3 years, there was the switch to Java 64 for the IMAP and POP3 integration, and now it's SMTP. So it's switches to OAuth 2.0, mandatory by Microsoft, so Siebel has to follow. And any Oracle folks in the room, please correct me if I'm reading the news wrong, but I think it's mandatory to take this action if you have SMTP outbound connections to Microsoft Exchange Online. There's documentation in Bookshelf. There's a TOI on Oracle MyLearn. And there are a lot of Oracle products that are integrated with Siebel already on OCI. Think of, well, OCI AI services most prominently, or older services such as Oracle Intelligence Advisor. Those are all pre-integrated with Siebel, and in Siebel Field Service 25.4, there's a new out-of-the-box integration with Oracle Fusion Knowledge Management, which of course is a cloud service from Oracle. So you have to buy that or own that already, and then you can use the pre-built Siebel integration. There are several new views and use cases built into Siebel Field Service. So in the service request screen or working with service requests, you can do a semantic search in that Fusion knowledge base. You can see the articles, browse the articles in Siebel, link them to the SR, view the related articles to an SR, and suggest changes even. So there's a lot going on. And this is all outbound REST, so very modern, very tight integration. So anyone in the room on Siebel Field Service or having worked on Siebel Field Service? No? Okay. So then it's time to a little wind back. Two releases ago, 25.2, if you remember, or maybe you have been past that already. So maybe put that in the chat if you want to. What have you already jumped over 25.2, which means you have successfully mastered the Merant ODBC driver migration. Any experience with that? Any stories to tell?
I just had the one about the 32-bit issue on Linux.
Okay, yeah, you told me about that. Yeah, so the thing is that the old data direct ODBC driver that was with Siebel or certified with Siebel and used by Siebel for, I don't know, 20 years or longer, that's now no longer certified, and it's replaced by the Oracle ODBC driver. And there's also an Oracle client now with the product. So the Oracle Instant Client. And the migration is happening automatically as you update your Siebel to 25.2 or higher. So if you come from any version prior, 25.1 or earlier, and you update to 25.4, that also applies to you. So be aware of that and take some extra steps during the update. And yeah, the news about the D-support of HPUX and Solaris is actually on Oracle support. So with permission of Oracle, I'm allowed to say that much, to quote a little bit, but there's a document ID you see on the screen where there's more information. So according to that information, 25.4 is the terminal release, the last release that supports HP Unix and Solaris, Oracle Solaris. HPUX is basically ending this year, going out, end of life. Yeah, was a venerable OS. I've worked with it in 1999. I can't remember. So Oracle Solaris, of course, comes from the Sun acquisition, and that is not going to be end of life, Solaris, but according to Oracle, it does not support the Java versions that future Siebel versions will have. So, and Oracle will provide patch support for both until end of this year, and then put them in sustaining support. But there will be, as I understand that, again, please correct me if I'm wrong, there will be no updates for these, no update packages for these operating systems starting next month. Is that correct? Asking the Oracle people in the room.
I think you're right. Hi, Alex, it's John. I think you're right, but obviously we would just all point to the Oracle doc ID you've got there, just for absolute clarity.
Yes, yeah. So I'm grateful to Brian and Carrie for providing me with that information, so I can
Yeah.
share it. I can share it here as much. So yeah, that's interesting to see, and of course it's a sign of the times that life goes on, and of course Oracle recommends to customers who are on those operating systems to, well, migrate to probably some Linux. Well, probably not Windows since they are Unix shops, but yeah, you can migrate to anything, or you can use Siebel Cloud Manager and migrate to Kubernetes on any cloud. That's what Siebel Cloud Manager can do. And yeah, here's the news already announced by Angelos by posting a link to a very interesting webinar that will take place on May 6th. Thanks, John, for sending me that information. And it's the Product Council for Spring, and it will also include a strategy and roadmap update. And the Siebel team, will discuss the new statement of directions that is slated to come out before that.
Yeah.
John?
Yeah. Yeah. What we're trying to do is just every quarter provide an update on our roadmap in case anything has changed, right? So I wouldn't say it's a new statement direction. What we want to cover on a quarterly basis is if there's been any amendment to that statement direction that we, make everybody aware. So really that's what it is. But the exciting thing about the product council is, we had some Siebel customers winning the Oracle Customer Excellence Awards recently.
Oh, yeah.
Vodafone in Europe and Grupo Aval in Latin America. They're both going to present a little bit about the case study and what ultimately enabled them to win the award. So that should be quite exciting. Both customers are running on OCI. Grupo Aval, I believe, are using autonomous database, and I think they're using Cloud Manager as well for some of their instances. And then, of course, Vodafone is we believe, the largest cloud native Siebel implementation in the world. Have to verify that through Jason, American Airlines, how they're getting on. But yeah, it should be a really good product council. So definitely tune in if it's in your time zone. I think it'll be really, really useful for everybody.
Okay, thanks, John. Yeah, thanks for organizing all these many webinars and really good product councils. Yeah, don't miss it. And John, I have two links. I have one for Zoom directly taking you to the registration page, and I have another one for Customer Connect. Which should I share both or in the chat? Or?
No, it's always better to use the Customer Connect link simply in case things get rescheduled and stuff like that.
Okay,
yeah.
So I'll share that in the chat right now. There you go. Angelos has also posted the link previously.
But also, Alex, you're posting this session on YouTube. So if you post the Zoom session, it might get hacked. So don't post the Zoom session, please.
I will obscure it. Yeah. Okay. So let's just see if that takes me somewhere. Okay. Yeah. You have to log in. Yeah.
The Cloud Customer Connect link as well. If anyone misses the product council and wants to watch the replay, it'll be available on that same link, whereas the Zoom one obviously won't.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So ignore the Zoom link, please. And people watching the replay will not see it.
And if anyone's having a problem registering with Cloud Customer Connect and being able to follow the Siebel topic on there, then just let me know. I can always just get an approval or a fix at the back end through our platform team.
Mhm. Okay. So yeah, back to that training news, because it's, well, obviously for the Siebel Hub, it's for Richard and myself, it's a big deal. We're very happy that we were able to find a way to make it work with Oracle, that our training is available. Yeah, hi Richard. And let's browse to a page that I will also share the link to, just to celebrate the occasion. So this is the Oracle shop. I'm not sure if you know that Oracle has an online shop where you can buy, I don't know, Exadatas and so, and there you can also buy the Oracle Siebel Cloud Learning subscription, which includes 150 plus hours of video training from, well, Richard and myself that we also have on the Siebel Hub. So it's not new material, but it's material that is available on both platforms, just to be very clear. And it's your choice where you go and buy it, or you have already bought it because you have learning credits, etc. So talk to your Oracle University associate, talk to the Oracle team if you're interested in doing that. And
Yeah, Alex, I think the good thing about it being on the Oracle platform as well is, we have some customers who purchase learning subscription for the whole stack, like
yep,
the
right.
OCI training, the database training, AI training. So as part of that package, they now got Siebel, right? Or, there's the option just to buy Siebel on its own, or the option just to, go to the Siebel hub. So it's just more options for our customers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
you never know, there might be a return of the Siebel professional certification soon. Watch this space.
okay, good to hear. Because there currently is no official certification. We definitely keep watching that. And Richard posted in the chat that the Catalyst program for partners does not include that out of the box. You have to purchase that subscription if you are in the Catalyst program. Am I saying this right, Richard?
Yeah, so this is the feedback that I got today from a partner who had been trying to acquire the new Siebel Cloud Learning subscription through the Catalyst program, where they basically ask to be given access to training and they receive an access to the subscription. The Siebel Cloud Learning subscription that you're showing, basically the new stuff, is not currently included in the Catalyst program. And at this stage, I cannot tell you if it will be, but the advice from my Oracle representative was, it's not in the Catalyst program, therefore you should go and buy it.
Okay.
But
so
given that it's great value, I mean, it's not a huge amount of money. So I do appreciate that it is money, but if anyone else happens to be listening who is thinking about the Catalyst program, that training is not included in it as we speak.
Yeah, I was actually looking at that as well, which is like, I think it's $1,500, is it?
Something like that, 1,500
Yeah,
euros, yeah, maybe a little more dollars.
$1,500, and you get 150 hours of training.
Yeah, it's probably the best value training there is on the entirety of the Oracle University.
yes,
That's a lot of training for your money.
that's a lot. And I've just opened the story page, which I will also share the link. So there are both links to the shop and the story page, the MyLearn story page, which so you see there's the last updated timestamp. Well, just yesterday, which is nice. And so here are the courses. Obviously, I will not click on that and show you the course materials, but that's what you get when you buy the subscriptions. So the Siebel Hub.
One quick question. These are all our new version or is it old versions?
These are all the new version courses that are also available on the Siebel Hub for a few years now and are constantly updated. So they are on the latest modern Siebel releases. They're definitely on Siebel 22 plus. If there is a change, it will be made available in your subscription.
So I think the important thing, Satish, is to realize that the if you're thinking about acquiring a subscription, make sure that it's the subscription called the Siebel Cloud Learning Subscription, because that way you're sure to be getting the training that you've seen on the Siebel Hub. So you'll get the up-to-date Siebel 22 plus. Sometimes, as you know, of course, since we update it all the time, it could be the very most recent version. But it is important to target the right learning subscription to avoid disappointment, or at least a surprise.
Yeah. Okay, and just stating the obvious, training is still available on the Siebel Hub if you want to do a more modular approach. Let's say not buy the whole lot, buy individual modules, such as recently posted the Siebel REST Mega Pack, which is a single module just focusing on Siebel REST. Yeah, with that, be like the black sheep, pump your muscles. And that is an updated module. If you have an existing Siebel Hub subscription, of course, you will have that content as well, but you can purchase it in a modular fashion for a very reasonable price, though, as we say. So both channels are available to the Siebel community for training. So, and some other news I'd like to share, because we're just ragging about how good the Siebel Hub is. This number recently got to 5 digits. This is the registered users on the Siebel Hub. Siebel Hub is 10 years now, 10-year anniversary, a little bit more than that already. And 10,000 people bothered to click through the registration, which, yeah, is really something, and makes me speechless. Richard, you have some more words?
Not really, is that it just took me an awful lot of time to create a batch script to create the last 9,994 users. No, I'm only kidding. It is quite an incredible achievement. We've actually gone down. Yesterday we were 10,006, sorry, 10,007. So somebody got fed up and left. Yeah, it's no doubt when we do our next archiving session, some of those will disappear, but it is interesting that over the course of 10 years, 10,000 unique people have come and registered. We're not talking people who've read the site. We're actually people who have been bothered to interact with the site in some way, as opposed to just reading it. I noticed, sorry to jump from one thing to the other, John, what I meant by the other Siebel learning subscription was the learning subscription that currently exists, which references the Siebel 15.5 training. So I was trying to distinguish between the Siebel Cloud Learning subscription, which is the new stuff, the black sheep / Siebel Hub stuff. And then there is existing content on there, which is called Siebel something else, but it's basically the old Siebel 15.5 materials. Yeah. So I would just basically make sure you choose the link that Alex has posted, and we've posted a gazillion times on social media, to be sure that you get the Siebel 22 plus, the modern stuff, basically. We wouldn't want anyone to be disappointed.
Yeah, it feels like there should be some kind of merge or something, right?
Well, it's interesting you should say that. The Oracle University has taken the stand that the old stuff should remain separately, so that it's essentially to avoid people, because it so clearly says 15.5 on the old stuff that, yeah. Well, I kind of wish that the new one was a little more explicit in the fact that it was 22 plus. It says something like more modern versions, but of course modern is a very vague weasel word. But you know,
as a training provider and instructor, it's always difficult to use version numbers, because once you use one version number like 24.5, next month you're out of date, because people think it's no longer valid. That's not true. Of course, everybody in the room knows that, but you know how people are. And
just sorry, go ahead.
I suppose for customers who are on 15.5, that learning path is probably more relevant.
Yes, I suppose if they haven't already printed it and photocopied it and downloaded it from YouTube or somewhere else. To bounce back on another point that you made, John, about certification, I just checked, and our digital learning platform that we use for Siebel Hub, we just passed the 100th digital certification from the Siebel Hub.
Yeah.
So
The badges.
yeah, the
Yeah.
digital badges that
Mhm.
people put on their LinkedIn profile when they attend
Mhm.
one of our classes, or when we have an exam called the Siebel Hub Expert Certification. We've just passed, I think, the 75th person who's
Mhm.
taken that exam.
Yeah.
So we're doing good. You have competition now.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys recall the old Siebel certification from the past and how deadly it was. I recall you really had to study hard for it.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's the
so
point.
so we, if we do a certification, we kind of do want to go back to that sort of level, if you like, because we want to give our customers the reassurance that if they're taking on people who are Siebel, official Oracle Siebel certified professionals, it means they know their stuff, right? They really know to a good level of quality and detail all about the product. So not just kind of basic questions, right? It'll be pretty hard.
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea. I think, however, what would be interesting is, if you are going to do one, is at least talk to us about the content of the learning subscription, because obviously people are going to use the learning subscription to obtain a basic level, so that we don't. So if there's things that we need to provide from the learning subscription level, different modules, different training that you think needs to be focused on, so that we can adjust that and add it to the learning subscription. Whilst I take your point about people need to be really, really, really good, I think that in the current situation where there is no certification, from my own perspective, is if you put the bar too high, you'll end up with a net gain of nothing. There's going to have to be a compromise.
Usually you have different levels as well, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm getting to is we need some kind of exam that's hard for Alex to pass, of course.
Yeah, of course. But it's a really interesting space, because I've always been of the opinion that certification was destroyed by Salesforce. It became meaningless. I have 55 certifications on Salesforce, but I can't spell Salesforce. It's interesting that Oracle wants to go back into that space. I'm really pleased that you're targeting a different level, a different kind of certification. You want it to be hard, you want it to be worthy of the name. I'm a little suspicious as to what that actually means in terms of customer uptake, because we have a hard time motivating partners and motivating customers to get trained as it is. What level of uptake is Oracle expecting from a challenging certification exam? That's not a question for now. That's a question for what's the strategy behind that.
Yeah. So, okay.
Yeah. When we've worked it out, we'll be sure to get your feedback. Okay.
Love it.
Yeah, we'd love to provide feedback. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, there's one more thing I would like to put into this Siebel Friday. If you want something to discuss, have questions, whatever, you know where the chat is, you know where your microphone button is. One thing that I would like to discuss is how many people in the room, or that you know of, are running Siebel in some cloud. So that means, of course, OCI is probably the #1 cloud. I had a little email exchange with Jason the other day about knowing some customers who are on Azure, some customers are on AWS. Are there customers on Google Cloud? We don't know. Is there any knowledge about that? Do you have anything to share here?
I know we have customers on all those flavors of cloud that you just mentioned, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
I can't provide exact names because I've not had a laptop for a week. So,
of course. And
I'm on my phone all week, so I don't have any of my old files and things like that.
It would be interesting just to see numbers, like, is OCI the #1 choice? Probably yes, would be my guess. Is AWS, like Richard mentions, an EU customer he knows is on AWS. So
Yeah, and there's different ways to look at it. Like some customers might only deploy certain instances on certain clouds as well, right? So
uh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right, John. The customer I was talking about is actually got some stuff on AWS and some stuff on OCI. So it's a bit of a mishmash.
So in the chat, there's 3 more customers mentioned on AWS by Satish.
And
Florian runs on OCI. Yeah.
I think about half my customers use OCI and half use AWS, but I haven't had anyone using on-prem in a while, probably at least 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I've got 2 on-premise customers.
Yeah. So if you're in Europe, you're more likely to have on-prem.
Yeah, one of whom is running on Microsoft SQL Server.
Yeah. And that's another
choice.
interesting question. If you are on cloud with your Siebel production or other Siebel environments, what type of database are you using? For example, the AWS, I don't know exactly the product names, but AWS has an Oracle database.
Yeah, RDS. We had a customer that's using Oracle RDS and also SQL Server on AWS. So both of those.
All kinds of weird combinations, right? So
yep.
Because well, Amazon has everything except the relational database. Like, well, they have something, but not certified with Siebel, right?
Right.
Yeah, and Yuris comes in the chat with 2 customers on prem, 1 on Azure. Okay, that's the first for Azure mentioning 1 OCI. Yeah, pretty interesting, and I would really love to see those numbers and compare them to 2 years ago and compare them to 2 years in the future.
We'll always be on-prem.
Well, there will be a lot of on-prem, I guess, still a few years on, because of various reasons. Herbert mentioned in the chat they are migrating from on-prem to AWS with Oracle database on RDS. Another one for AWS. Christian,
what would be
on-prem.
interesting? Sorry, Alex. What would be interesting for me, speaking from the Siebel team, Oracle, is we tend to see customers have a preference for a particular cloud infrastructure vendor, just because they're kind of like being through the security controls and onboarding already for other applications. So naturally, they would look that way for, say, Siebel. But it would be really interesting for me if anyone has looked across all of the different vendors, maybe even tried Siebel on those different vendors, and then made a choice, and what were the reasons for that choice were, rather than just the de facto platform that IT use, right? If someone's actually evaluated it all, tried their Siebel cloud native on those platforms, and then gone for one.
Yeah, my guess would be it's more likely to be the what you said, that they are, for example, a Microsoft shop, and so the natural choice is Azure because they already have so much stuff there and so much experience. They wouldn't want another cloud.
That's also my point of view. You have a preferred cloud and you try to run Siebel there.
Yeah, so that seems to be the strategy of most customers who migrate. Yeah, thanks, Christian.
You need the cloud in the right color.
Well, my thought on us for ours, the way I'm pushing for DCRI, is that we go Oracle because of all the pre-built-in tools to do it, to do the migration. And I'm a 2-person shop, and I can't afford to learn Azure or AWS or any of those other things and try to figure it all out.
Okay, thanks, Nick. So OCI is your preferred cloud, so to speak.
That's what I'll push for. Anything other than that, I can let management know that now I have our parent support. I have to have internal support. I have to have security. I have to have like a whole support team of 5 to 6 people to do it, other than the OCI.
Yeah, I think that's a really important point that Nick is making, is that a lot of Siebel shops are constrained by lack of resource. The team has been drawn down to a small number, and approaching a migration to cloud, the same people who are struggling to manage the day-to-day activity of Siebel are then expected to transform themselves into Siebel to cloud migration specialists. So yeah, the path of least resistance is often the one that's chosen.
Mm-hmm.
Does it mean that Oracle's multi-cloud strategy and the way we're approaching Cloud Manager as a kind of platform across different flavors of cloud infrastructure is the right way to go then?
Yes. Okay. This is Chris, I think so.
Yeah. That's that's the game changer.
Yep.
When Siebel Cloud Manager was enabled to deploy Siebel on any cloud, even on private cloud OpenShift flavors. That's really changed the game. Yeah.
Yeah, because now no one can object and say, "Oh, you don't support our cloud, so we can't do that."
Yeah. But it would be super interesting to see if anybody has ever tried using Siebel Cloud Manager deploying to, let's say, OpenShift or other or Azure or whatever flavor of Kubernetes is out there. And there is a side discussion going on in the chat right now about the job market. So if you want to chime in on that, yeah.
One thought on strategy lines. If you have the multi-cloud approach, then you have your own, in German it's Souveränität.
The sovereignty, yeah.
Sovereignty. So you're independent, you can run anywhere. I think this should be the niche of Siebel.
Yeah, it's kind of Oracle's niche as well, right? We've got a distributed multi-cloud strategy. So pretty much you can run any of Oracle software anywhere you want is kind of where they're trying to get to. And I do think the way the world's kind of going, it's all getting very sort of blurred across clouds that are on premise and clouds that are hosted, publicly, and SaaS applications or non-SaaS applications that are cloud native. It's kind of like very much blurred. So I think if you think about the Siebel application, it's always been built with an open architecture, open platform, open database, open user interface, easy to integrate with everything. So following that kind of pattern with our own open approach to cloud infrastructure, to AI, I think it will just help customers who've made that large investment in the application. They don't really need to go anywhere else. They can just embrace the other options that are available to them and keep evolving their application.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I do love that
exactly.
Oracle has that very openness about its structure these days. Really nice. That gives us many options. If I had a staff of 10, I definitely would try to stay with what we're doing, which is Azure. But I haven't got the bodies for it.
Okay. Yeah. So, well, Siebel, 30 years of Siebel, and we're talking about that you can run Siebel everywhere. And that, I think that was one of the principles from the early days of Siebel CRM as well, with the support for many different databases, which is still here today. Now the support, you can run Siebel on-prem, you can run it hybrid, you can run it on cloud, you can run it on private cloud flavors. So that's really great to see. And also different operating systems, well, with two obviously going away, as we heard, but still Linux and Unix flavors. That would be IBM being the last Unix. Is that, am I correct? So we have Linux and one Unix, one real Unix, IBM AIX, and Microsoft, of course. There'll be 3 left. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, the side discussion about the jobs. Yeah, please. I don't want to kind of break it off here with a discussion about the job market, but if you have anything to add, any job opportunities to share, Richard and I surely would love to help and put it on the Siebel Hub.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We used to invite people who were looking for Siebel resources to publish the job on the site, and we haven't done it in the recent past. But that's very much something that we'd be delighted to do if it helps increase the reach. Well, why not? Why not? I'm sure we can. Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, and with that, anything else we can discuss today? The chat is yours. Microphones are open.
Just a reminder for 25, was it 1 and 2 or is it 2 and 3? If you're running Linux, make sure you have the 32-bit libraries for the network.
Yeah. Thanks, Nick, for that. Not sure about 25.4, but probably the same, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yeah. And Alok, hi Alok, you have questions about Approval Manager. So yeah, please.
Yeah, hi Alex.
Hi
Hello
Alok.
everyone. Yeah, so this is like I have done like a couple of like setups for this. So there are like two major what you say like issues. One is the dependency on Siebel tools. That is like kind of workaround. Like we can always install a like Windows VM and use it there. I know that Sieb Dev CLI has some functionalities, but this like delivering of workspace is not, I guess, not included there. And the way
Sorry, so Siebel Approval Manager, the automation for everybody who doesn't know what Siebel Approval Manager is, it's the CI/CD tool that Oracle has made available, and that can not only manage your approval flows but also automatically deliver changes into a Siebel workspace, and that's the tools dependent functionality. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right, Alex.
Yeah.
So yeah, it needs Siebel tools, not it doesn't work on web tools, and of course, like you need a Windows machine
And
for
that's a
Siebel
problem if
tools.
you install Siebel Approval Manager on Linux, right?
Yeah, that is one thing. Another limitation of what I see is when we deliver a workspace, usually we would like to put some comments. That comments you will see that in the workspace merge applet. So the inbuilt functionality from the approval manager doesn't allow that. So if you want to update some comments, like you have to externally do it from on the database. But by the way, Siebel tools, like when we call it from a command line, the siebdev.exe, you can put the comments as one of the parameters, but not from the native API which we have or approval manager. So that is another limitation.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm not sure like is there like any future updates planned?
Why don't we ask John, since we've got John on the call? Is there anything in the upcoming statement of direction in respect of Siebel Approval Manager?
Off the top of my head, because I don't have my computer, I don't recall seeing anything.
No, there wouldn't be
Substantial in Approval Manager, but if it's minor tweaks or say bugs fixes, then I don't know, maybe that could be considered. We just have to log it and evaluate it.
Yes, both of these are already in the backlog for SAM. We realize that there's a tools dependency and we want to remove that, and we want to make it REST based only. That's in the backlog, and I have not heard that you couldn't add comments like you could when you're delivering in person. So that's an enhancement that we can definitely take up. But yeah, the Siebel Approval Manager usually takes a backseat to everything else that we have going on and has for many years. but these things are in the backlog. We just have to get the development team to stop having to update installers and other things to work on this. The guy who does the installers also does SAM, so it's tough to get it prioritized.
Okay, talking about the
Okay.
job market here.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Carrie, for providing the good news. So it's in the backlog. It's a known issue.
Could you send me an email directly with the requirements? And because one of them, the comments one, I'd like to create an epic for that.
Yeah, sure, Kerry. I will send you that.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Yes, Sam is alive. Okay. Nick asks about, is approval manager different to inbox? Yes, definitely. So that's, as Carrie points out in the chat right now, it's totally separate product. But it has approval in the name, so
Yeah.
which is confusing. But there's so many things in Siebel that sometimes product names overlap. Just say workspace. product workspace. No, the other one. Okay. So yeah, thanks Alok for putting that on. Thanks Carrie for being so candid. And thanks everybody for making this a very special Siebel Friday. And looking forward to the next one. Go Siebel.
Thank you. Bye.
Go Siebel. All right. Take care, guys.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye,
Thanks, Siebel.
everybody.
Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.
Bye.